What is going on, everyone? I do apologize, guys. I know you guys have been waiting for a long time for this one, and it's just been really crazy. Obviously, with everything that's going on, schools got pushed online, and it has literally have taken up almost all my time. I don't have any time to myself anymore at this point, but thankfully, class has 1 week left. So, here's what you've been waiting for: question and answers. So, here's the first question that was asked of me, and some of these questions, I try to avoid simply because it's not within my belief system, or I just don't have experience in that. And this is one of them. Now, I've said it before in several videos that I'm not your typical investigator. I'm not that religious. Now, I do believe there's something beyond this. I can't necessarily sit here and say that there's a heaven and hell, that there's a God, that there's a devil, but I do know there's something beyond this. And whether that there is a God, whether there is a devil, I've seen both sides of that, bad and good. So that doesn't mean that there isn't something. But I've spoke to many people in the field who are religious, and they say nothing different of the sorts, that this doesn't go against anything because you're not putting yourself out there to do harm to the spirits, so to speak, right? We're not out there mocking the dead. We're not out there the way, if we're provoking something, it's because we're trying to gather evidence, and I don't believe in that. This is where I don't necessarily agree with Zach Baggins and a lot of ghost adventurers or ghost hunters, anybody out there that I think provokes a spirit to just try to gather its attention, because for me that's causing trouble, and you're maybe even mocking that spirit. So, not to get off topic here, but no, I do not believe that it goes against anything in the religious, because there's a lot of priests, there's a lot of people who very, very, very religious people who are ghost hunters and who are paranormal investigators. So to answer the question, absolutely, I don't see it being anything against it, and anybody who thinks so, I think doesn't necessarily understand what we do and why we do it. Okay, so I don't know if I've done this before, I've said this before. You should never ignore a ghost or a haunting, simply because I want you to think about it this way. I don't know if I did a video about this or answer some question like this. The reason is because you have to look at it like this. A ghost is kind of like a child. They're going to try to get your attention. When they're not going to get your attention, what are they going to do? They're going to have a temper tantrum. And it's going to progressively get worse from there, and worse and worse. Regardless if it's a human spirit or a demonic spirit, they're trying to get your attention for a reason. That reason can be a multitude of things, where it's getting your attention because it's trying to get a message through. It's trying to get your attention because it needs to tell you something. Regardless, if you're going to ignore that spirit's going to get frustrated, and its power is going to grow, and it's going to start, again, things are going to start progressing, and things are going to start getting worse. With a human spirit, they have a tendency to turn that frustration, that they don't realize they have that power, they turn that frustration, and they start doing things that, for what it looks like to you, could be evil, could be demonic. And in reality, it's not. It's just them getting frustrated. So you should never ignore a haunting, or should never ignore a spirit. Even so, you should never ignore a demon. The best thing you should do is acknowledge a human spirit. And with something evil or demonic, that's a whole different story, obviously. I've seen a lot of people say, if you have a demonic haunting and you're feeding that demon fear, right, it's feeding this energy of that demon, and its power is growing and growing and growing from that. However, on the flip side of that, just ignoring that demonic spirit is not going to get away. It's not going to rid that home of that spirit, not spirit, but demon. It's not going to rid the home of that. That demon's going to get more and more violent until it really pushes you to the brink. So No, never ignore haunting. Your best bet of any type of haunting is to get a paranormal team in there. Get someone in there who can deal with that and fix the situation and, communicate with that spirit, the human spirit who's trying to communicate with you, or a paranormal team that can deal with demonic haunting. So you should never ignore haunting. I upset some people on a different page with this question and answer, and that wasn't my intention, but you have to understand, coming from someone, who takes a scientific approach to this kind of stuff, it's hard for me to believe in psychics and mediums. Now, don't get me wrong, and I've said this before, I've had opportunities that I've dealt with many great mediums and great psychics. Look at Chip Coffey, great medium, someone who can actually speak and see the dead. I truly believe that he has a gift, just like there's other people out there who have gifts. But anyone can sit there and say, I'm a psychic, I'm a medium, and it's hard for me to believe that without backing that up without evidence. If Chip Coffey said to me, there's a spirit sitting in that corner right there, and I walk over there with an EMF detector and I get a spike and I get a temperature reading, there's a cold spot, and I take a picture and there's something there, anomaly or something in that picture, I'm going to fully believe that he has something that I don't. Okay? But the reality is, there's a lot of people out there who proclaim to be something they're not. And it's hard for me to believe in a lot of that stuff. Okay? I have to present this evidence basically to the science community, right? If someone says, I don't believe you, I don't believe in ghosts, I don't believe in spirits, and I don't believe in hauntings, and I show them evidence and say, well, I'm a psychic, I know it's haunted, I'm a medium, I can see ghosts. Okay, well, do you have any proof of that? No, I don't, I just know. They're not going to believe you. How do I go to a homeowner and I tell them their house is haunted? Well, how do you know? Because I'm a medium, I can see the ghosts. Some people are going to fall for that, right? Others, they want the proof. Without pictures and videos, you don't have proof. Okay, so this is why I'm a firm believer in equipment. Okay, now I'm not saying that, I don't believe I don't have some type of powers, whatever we want to call it, abilities, because doing this for so long, I can walk into a home and just feel there's something off about that home, and 99% of the time it turns out to be haunted. Is that ability? I don't know. Maybe it's just my body adapting from doing this so long to being able to sense something, right? I've walked to a home and instantly felt there's no way this house is haunted, and I was right. Okay, but it's hard for me to believe that that's me having an ability, having mediumship, or having a psychic ability. I believe more in mediumship than I do someone who's a psychic. If I go to someone and say, you're going to meet your future wife in a week, and nothing ever happens from that, what happened? Oh, maybe I was wrong, it was next week. Okay, so I apologize for offending anyone who reached out to me, but again, the reality is I need evidence. If you can't produce the evidence, I'm not going to believe you. So I don't know if I've answered this question before. This is a really good question. It's really one of those questions that makes you really think. It makes me think. And what would it be like to be a spirit or to be a ghost? I think our physical bodies are nothing but vehicles that carry us through this lifetime, or however long our lifetime may be, whether it's 20 years, 30, 40 years, or you live 100 to be 100. And when we leave our physical body, our physical senses disappear. I don't think our emotional senses disappear, if that makes any sense to anybody. I think we still feel sadness, happiness as spirits, but that physical sense is gone. So pain is gone. Feeling sickness is going to be gone because we're no longer feeling the physical effect of our body that once were. Somebody who has cancer, somebody who is, ill, and they pass on because that they no longer feel that. So maybe they feel happiness because they no longer feel that pain. So I think that you are voided of all your physical senses, and should, think about it this way. And this is really weird to think about. You also feel the weight of your body. Okay. You feel when you stand up, when you're running, when you're doing certain things, you feel that physical. That's no longer there. So it's hard to define what I think it would feel like to be a ghost. But I think it's kind of just like the feeling. Most people who have a near-death experience it, and they talk about the feeling of almost like they're floating. And they're void of all their physical senses, but they still are aware. And that's a key word here. They're still aware of their surroundings. Okay, but you look at certain stories or things I've ran into where the spirit doesn't even know they have passed on, and they can no longer communicate in a physical sense. Okay, so it's hard to answer that question, but that would be my guesstimate. That you lose all your physical senses. You still have you're still aware, but you no longer feel the physical senses. So this question got asked by a younger viewer, and I might answer this person's question because I think it's a really good question. And thank you for asking. The question was, what happened to my dog? What happened to my cat, hamster, etc., etc.? Do all animals have spirits? And I can only answer for what I've experienced. Okay, guys. I've had 2 different investigations where the homeowner, not necessarily being haunted, but they were questioning their sanity because they were still seeing their dog that had passed on years before that. And we went to the investigation, and we came back with incredible evidence. And I came back to the person. I said, this is what we got. And we actually had a picture, everything, and they were blown away because the picture matched their dog that had passed on. So I believe everything living has a spirit, whether that be a dog, a cat, a hamster, a snake, I think anything, a physical living thing has a spirit. Okay. I don't know how it all works. I don't. I don't know if there is when they go to the spirit world, do the dogs go to a different place, or cats go to a different place, do rabbits go to a different place, do lions? I don't know. But what I do know is what I've experienced. And I truly believe that everything has a spirit. I think for the most part, when a cat or a dog passes on, they become more of a protector to the family. And I've seen that several times where a dog's spirit will still stay with that family and protect them. Same with a cat. I myself have experienced a cat spirit once. This goes back years ago. We had just had a cat. My family had just had a cat that passed away, and I was one who found the cat while I'm coming home from work, and unfortunately had passed away right on the floor. It was really hard because he was an amazing cat, and that night I was really, really distraught. I was upset, and I was outside by myself and just really upset. And I looked in the window, and in the window was a black and white cat. And at the time we only had one black and white cat, and that was the cat that passed on. And this overwhelming sense of relief came over me. And that same night, I remember I was laying in bed and I felt something walk onto my bed. And I was half asleep, and I remember just feeling like I was petting a cat. I'm sitting there petting the cat, and it took me a couple seconds to come to and realize what I was doing. My door was shut. There was no way for a cat to get in. And again, that overwhelming sense of relief. And I knew in my head for some reason that he was at peace at that point, because we believed he had died of a heart murmur, so he was in a little bit of pain that we didn't realize he was in. And I think that kind of clarifies your question, that yes, all animals have spirits, and I believe that if you have a cat that passes away, and you have a dog that passes away, they're there, and they're never going to leave. And when we go beyond this physical realm, we will meet them again. Okay, so I hope that answered your question. So yes, they're most likely still there with you, and they're protecting you. So here's a really good question, and something that's going to be kind of difficult to answer, but I'm going to go back a little bit. Let's talk about how we are who we are when we pass on, and that doesn't change. Again, you're going to be you, I'm going to be me. We are just now not, in a physical sense, ourselves. Okay? So, can a good spirit become bad? And we all make mistakes in our lives, whether it's stealing a piece of candy, whether I'm not trying to bring up bad subjects here, but whether we drive drunk and we kill someone, we all make mistakes. Okay? And when we move on from this, the spirit world, we go into the spirit world, a spirit can do things that may seem evil, per se. I was just watching a TV show, and you know me, guys. There's not many shows on TV that I like paranormal wise, but this is something I do watch here and there. Paranormal Experience, I forgot what it was, but the point was, this person was dealing with a spirit who was doing harm to the family, scratching, pushing, throwing things, horrible images, things like this that these people were dealing with. That they thought they were dealing with something demonic. And long story short, at the end of the episode, they realized that it was the aunt, and all she was trying to do was communicate with the family, and they were just growing. She was growing frustrated because she wasn't able to make contact with the family. So when we move on from this, and I think a good portion of spirits who go on from our physical bodies, sometimes they don't know they're dead, and they might have to do things to, I guess, prove to themselves that they're dead, and it takes them a long time to realize that, and they might do evil things, they might do mean things that they wouldn't have done as living beings, but it's going to get someone's attention. So can a good spirit become bad? I think in a way, yes, but not the way we think. They're not going to purposely kill someone because, they're narrow spirit. They're just trying to communicate. And when they get that communication, they realize how sorry they are that they had to do other things, but they finally got your attention, if that makes any sense. And I know this is a short answer, but this is what I think could happen. And what you may think of as bad, that spirit may seem like the only way to get your attention. All right, guys, I hope that you liked this video and some of the questions that were asked and the answers I gave. Guys, you have to understand, this video took me 3 weeks to edit and complete. 3 weeks, because that's how much time I don't have right now. EMT school is coming to an end. However, hopefully sometime in the fall, depending on how this COVID-19 goes, I'm going to go to paramedic school. So I'm going to be reading with less time. Woohoo! Subscribe, like, guys. Throw these questions at me and I will answer them, even if it's not in a video. I have another video I'm editing right now. It's probably taking me another week or so. And I know that you guys get frustrated and you want more videos up, and I get that. I completely understand, guys. I know my subscribers out there. I apologize, but you have to understand. It's all for good, right? It's all for good. As always, happy hauntings.